Good morning. Thank you for joining us and welcome to IRTA's virtual Area 5 conference. I am Jim Barr, your Area 5 representative. At this time, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we get started, I would like to review some housekeeping matters with you. To minimize background noise and other distractions, all participants will remain muted for the duration of the event. Please submit all questions using the chat feature. I have been retired for 22 years. I retired in 2002, and shortly after I retired, I joined the Decatur Area Retired Teachers Association as a life member. And very shortly after that, I joined the IRTA as a life member. Two very, very good investments in my career as a former teacher and now as a retiree. And I would encourage all of you to think about becoming life members, and I encourage all of your present retirees to do the same. It's well worth your investment. I would also like to thank all of the area presidents of our local units and the officers of each local unit for all of their service to their local unit as well as to the IRTA. I'd also like to thank our regional directors and especially the staff here at IRTA and our executive committee. Everybody does an excellent job, and I'd just like to thank each and every one of them. IRTA's Area 4 and Area 6 conferences will be held over the next few weeks and hosted by each area respectively. All members, regardless of where you live, in state or out of state, are welcome to attend all sessions. We have an exciting lineup of speakers for you today, including the IRTA President, Mike Schmidt, who will update us on the state of the association and provide a foundation report. The 2024 foundation fundraiser is presently underway. I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank every member who has contributed to the IRTA Foundation. The foundation assists retired educators with living expenses, scholarships to aspiring teachers, and this year's Area 5 winner, Alexis Worley from Vandalia. I'd like to congratulate her, as well as providing grants to active teachers. And I really appreciate all of the support that each unit gives to recruiting present teachers and applying for these grants. It's a really easy process, and there are a lot of good projects out there that the IRTA is providing grants for. So thank you for all of your help in supporting that and getting present teachers to put those applications in. These endeavors would not be possible without your support. We also will also hear from our IRTA PAC Committee Chair, Sharon Teefee. Sharon will talk to us about the candidate endorsement process and the importance of political engagement and purposeful interaction with lawmakers. We'll also be hearing from the Illinois Department on Aging, who will discuss important community programs administered by the agency and much more. I hope you enjoy today's programs. And like most associations, IRTA cannot carry out its mission and functions without volunteers to lead our boards and our committees. Later in the meeting, you will hear from the Leadership Development Chairperson, Bob Kaplan. Bob will share his insights about the importance of getting involved in leadership and other opportunities to serve IRTA. Bob will lead a leadership development roundtable discussion with the IRTA leadership team, who will share their personal stories of involvement with IRTA. As you might remember, changes were approved to the IRTA Constitution last fall. Now, all IRTA members can become members of many of our state committees, including the Members Benefit Committee, the IRTA Political Action Committee, the Membership Committee, and the Legislative Committee. Each of these committees will be composed of a dedicated chair, the corresponding local unit chair, and any members who are eager to contribute to the success of IRTA. I would like to give recognition to the Legislative Committee Chair, Dixie Wheeler, who has assembled a strong committee due to these changes. Dixie's committee has over 20 actively engaged members, so kudos to Dixie. Equally important to encourage member involvement are IRTA's member recruitment efforts. IRTA staff launched our spring membership recruitment campaign in March, and this initiative ran through approximately June 1st. This campaign includes submitting Freedom of Information requests to all superintendents across the state to request contact information for all teachers who have announced their plans to retire. Once compiled, this information was provided to our local units. Local unit leaders were asked to speak directly to those teachers who they have a personal relationship with and possibly invite them to attend a meeting or an event. IRTA also sent a series of personalized messages that included direct mail, social media, outreach, and email messages to ensure that new retirees are aware of IRTA and the benefits that we offer. This year's spring membership recruitment campaign was a huge success. As a result of the hard work of many, IRTA gained a total of 361 new members. So welcome to the new members, and hopefully some of them are joining with us today. This success would not have been made possible without the coordinated efforts of IRTA volunteer leaders at all levels, including the local units, area representatives, regional directors, IRTA members, AMBA and Velocity, and the IRTA staff. IRTA President Mike Schmidt will share the details of an important new member outreach initiative that will be launched in the coming weeks. Mike Schmidt is challenging all IRTA members to assist with making personal phone calls to welcome all new members to the IRTA family. If you haven't volunteered to take part in this important initiative, please do so. IRTA staff launched new educational opportunities and events for members to attend. These events include, but are not limited to, the Spring IRTA Member Outreach Summit and the Monthly Brief. The Monthly Brief is hosted each month and features special guest speakers and discussion of topics important to retired teachers. This year's topics have included an update on efforts to repeal the windfall elimination provision and government pension offset, or WEPGPO. It's also topics that include Illinois property tax exemptions and an overview of legislative activities of the General Assembly. All these events have been well attended by our IRTA members, and your support of these initiatives is appreciated. I want to thank you all for attending today's area conference and for being members of the only organization whose sole purpose is protecting the benefits of retired teachers and educators. I hope you have an informative and beneficial conference. Without further delay, I am happy to welcome our first speaker, IRTA President and Foundation Chair, Mike Schmidt. Mike?
Good morning. I'm Mike Schmidt. And it's a bit amazing for me to realize that I'm just about 1/4 of the way through my 2-year tenure as president of the Illinois Retired Teachers Association. Why? It seems like just last week that we had the IRTA Biennial Convention in Springfield. Last October's convention where our delegates, and perhaps you were one of them, elected the state officers for these 2 years. And now, while time marches on, here are you and I taking part in this area conference. And I'm so glad that you are. So far, I'm really enjoying this job, although using the word job is misleading since I don't get paid. I'm a volunteer. Later in today's conference, we're going to explore in some depth volunteerism. But for the moment, I'd like to let you know that over the previous 8 years, I was chair of the state membership committee. And as such, it was great to watch the state membership numbers go from about 36,000 to well over 40,000 today. Now, that increase had less to do with my being committee chair, but rather was largely due to the efforts of the state membership committee members, and especially individual unit membership chairs and committees. And as you probably know, or at least would suspect, that increase also came about because of IRT members such as you. Members reaching out to former colleagues and asking them to join the only state organization that is solely dedicated to protecting our pension and health insurance benefits. Now, today, the reason that I mentioned increasing our membership is that this summer is the perfect time to bring in new members. Over 2,000 of our former colleagues just retired, so now is the perfect time to reach out to them. Now is the perfect time to ask them to join your local IRTA unit. Now is the perfect time to recruit them to join with us in the state IRTA. And as we do so, this is the perfect time to let you know about a new initiative that we are launching. Various members of the State Board of Directors and of the State Membership Committee have agreed to call new IRTA members who joined this year and welcome them to our association. Now, as you might remember from when you joined the IRTA, the Springfield office sends out a new member booklet. That booklet contains a lot of useful information. However, receiving a phone call allows a newly retired colleague to ask questions about that information or about anything else concerning the IRTA. It also gives the volunteer making the calls a chance to mention the value of joining a local IRTA unit. Oh, by the way, did you catch that word that I just used? Volunteer? Well, we'll get back to that later in the conference. Switching gears just a bit, I'd like to point out that one of the significant changes to the IRTA Constitution that was voted on by the delegates to last year's convention has to do with the makeup of 3 of the 5 state standing committees. Rather than limiting the number of members a committee has, now any member can join the legislative committee. Now any member can join the Member Benefits Committee. Now any member can join the Membership Committee, and many, many members have volunteered to do so, as the convention delegates had hoped. Guess what the operative word was in that last sentence? Oh yeah, volunteer. Just keep that in mind for later. One of the surprises for me when I voluntarily joined the IRTA was that there is an IRTA Foundation. And one of the great things about the foundation is that it gives out money. And just to remind you about how the foundation does that, there are 3 significant categories for spending the foundation's money. Currently, there are 11 members for whom the foundation provides monetary assistance, something that all of us should be grateful for the chance to be able to do. Secondly, this year we have had 54 foundation scholarship applicants. As you might know, those who are awarded these scholarships are college students going into teaching, and who wouldn't want to help those young people? After all, we need to encourage people to replace us retirees in the classroom and eventually to join us in the IRTA. And lastly, we had an overwhelming response from active teachers who applied for the Excellence in Education grants. I enjoy seeing such enthusiasm from our colleagues in the classroom seeking opportunities for their students to have the tools they need to succeed. And hopefully you know that the money available for those 3 foundation activities does not come from our members' dues. No, it is all donated. Oh yeah, and speaking of donations to the foundation, I suspect that you realize we are in the midst of the annual foundation fundraising campaign. Yeah. So if you haven't already donated, it's not too late. If you still have the letter sent to you by the foundation that had the IRTA notepad enclosed, why, just put your donation in the envelope and send it in. Or you can go to our website at irtaonline.org. Just click on the foundation button at the top of the homepage, then scroll down to and click on the line titled Donations and Memorials. And then when that page appears, just click on the yellow donate button, take out your credit card and use it. All of the beneficiaries of the foundation, past and present, are surely grateful. There is much more important information that others will be sharing with you today. So I'd like to leave you with this thought. As your unit plans out its programs over the next year and a half, as the association president, I am always available to join in as a part of or as the unit's program. Well, that is if my wife and I are not on a cruise. But anyway, just let the Springfield office know the details so I'll know when and where to volunteer my time to your unit. Now, I'd like to introduce our next speakers, IRTA's contract lobbyist, Andrew Bodavis, and our new IRTA Executive Director, Jessica Hazelton. They have a legislative update for us. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for attending the Area 5 virtual conference this morning. I am the new IRTA Executive Director, Jessica Hazelton, and joining me today is a face that everyone knows and loves, our contract lobbyist, Andrew Bodavis. How are you today, Andrew?
I'm great, Jessica. Thanks for asking. How you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Andrew and I have a legislative update prepared for you today. The Illinois General Assembly adjourned the spring 2024 legislative session earlier this spring in May. And currently, lawmakers are not scheduled to return to Springfield until the fall veto session. And those specific dates are November 12th through the 14th and November 19th through the 21st. The fall veto session will occur after the November 5th general election. And just as a reminder, the fall veto session is an opportunity for lawmakers to address any legislative matters that were not completely taken care of during the spring session. And it also provides them an opportunity to address any legislative matters that were vetoed by the governor during the summer months. So among many of the pieces of legislation that legislators approved this year, one of the biggest pieces and most important was the fiscal year 2025 budget. This year's budget is a $53 billion spending plan, and the budget details are outlined in Senate Bill 251. And in addition to the budget, the bill that's commonly referred to as the Budget Implementation Bill, or BIMP for short, was also approved. And the BIMP is required so that substantive statutory changes can be made in order to implement the budget. And the BIMP bill this year was House Bill 4959. And both of these bills were signed into law by Governor Pritzker on June the 5th. Typically, there's not a lot of interest for our constituency in the BIMP bill, but this year there were some pretty important legislative matters that were included in both the budget and in the BIMP. So Andrew, I'm going to turn it over to you for so that you can walk us through some of the details that were included in this year's budget and BIMP.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. So, I mean, the first, I think, most important thing to point out is that TRS received its legally required amount, the amount that we advocate for them to receive the funding. That's about $6,203,622,000. So again, a little over $6 billion, plus some miscellaneous lines and everything. This is significant for a lot of reasons. One, it's about 60% of the overall pension spend in the state of Illinois, which is a little over $10 billion. It is also the single largest appropriation in the history of Illinois. And we beat our own record this year. The second largest appropriation in the history of Illinois is TRS's budget last year, third, fourth, fifth, on down the line. But it's a significant amount of money. So it's hard to be overly cavalier about the state making that payment. In addition to that, the full certified amount for the Trip and Trail program for the healthcare for retired teachers was made. That's about 113 million, actually almost 114 million. Within also talking about teacher retiree spending, Chicago did get some pension money from the state as well, about $350 million for their pension and healthcare combined. A lot smaller than downstate. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so like I say, these are significant. I think it's probably a couple of things that I want to talk about that didn't happen in this budget. Well, three things to talk about what didn't happen in this budget. One, this governor never, unlike previous governors, unlike other folks, this governor and this General Assembly, and again, unlike previous General Assemblies, never really made a push to do anything other than that full certified amount. So this was the amount that was introduced in February by the governor. It was the amount that was discussed throughout. I mean, the General Assembly seemed committed to doing the full funding at every step of the way. So that right there, for folks that have been to these area meetings for over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we're seeing progress there. We didn't get the extra money. So during the pandemic, there was some additional federal dollars that were coming into the state of Illinois, and Governor Pritzker earmarked, and the General Assembly supported the earmarking of some of that money to be extra payments to TRS. They got about $250 million over those 2 years. Not life-changing, but extra money is nice. And again, when you contrast that with the history of underfunding, doing more than you're required was great. That didn't happen this year for the sole reason that those federal dollars were not available this year. So as that federal money, one-time federal money expired, so did those one-time payments by the state. And then the other thing that didn't happen is back in February, back in those cold days, the governor came out and gave his State of the State and budget address. And at that time, he laid out a plan that he wants to start to implement, and I say start to implement because it's a multi-year plan, to get to 100% in 2048. So our current law says we got to get to 90% in 2045, and then it's silent about the future beyond that. He actually is starting to roll out a plan. What do we do after 2045? And how do we get to 100%? And again, he has a pretty aggressive funding plan that would get it to 100% funded in 2048. That's based on additional money coming in from the state starting in 2030 and through 2048. So 18 years of additional payment. And that money becomes available because certain bonds are expiring that were issued way back when under Blagojevich. So, it's great. It's great that somebody started, we spent so much time in the state of Illinois going, how do I get out from under what I owe? And what the governor really put forth is a modernization plan on how do we get to 100%. Again, nobody on the phone, nobody's ever like, oh, I need to pay off 90% of my credit cards. I want to pay off 90% of my house and pay interest until I die. That's not the goal, right? Our goal is typically, as businesses, as people, as states, should always be to get to 100% debt free. However long that might take. Somebody might buy a house in 15 years, another person in 30. However long it might take, it may be appropriate. But again, that 100% goal, this is the first time we heard about it. So we're going to continue to work on that.
Yeah, so that was my question. So what exactly, you mentioned that this was a proposal, which is a great conversation starter and it's a great goal. But what are the next steps so that we can see this move from proposal to reality?
Yeah, so I think this is getting wrapped up in another conversation we've been involved in. Funding is always very important to us. The benefits are what they are. Our members receive the benefits that they were promised. But obviously, we've got a lot of concern about younger teachers coming in and, based on our wisdom of how important retirement security is, making sure that they have retirement security when they go to retire. And what we found, and I think what the state has found, is that tier 2 folks are not going to have that retirement security when they go to retire, for a whole host of reasons. And so, as you well know, we've been engaging with the General Assembly. We've testified in, I don't know, a dozen House hearings. We're preparing right now, again, as you know, to testify in Senate hearings, waiting for the final confirmation on that date. So we've been engaged, not just ourselves, but with other groups, that represent active teachers. Because again, we've only got about 17 retired tier 2 members in TRS total right now. So it's not really, IRTA is not front and center on that, but huge supporting role using our expertise, our voice, to get those tier 2 benefits to be fair, and most importantly, make it so that folks can retire and achieve that retirement. This funding piece, and I think it makes sense. It's hard to talk about how much you're going to pay for something and how you're going to pay for something if you don't know what that something is, right? So oftentimes when we go to buy a new car, we look at the cost of the car and what we need in the car, right? And we tend to have those conversations side by side. The state's doing the same thing on pensions. They want to talk about the funding piece while they're talking about those fixes on tier 2, those increases in benefits to some better standard than where they are now. So I think that's all going to happen this summer. Again, been involved in conversations. Those are ongoing. I think it's going to come to a head as the weather cools off a little bit. Early fall, late summer, early fall, I think we'll get a better, more crystal view of what we're talking about on both the benefits and the funding, and then hopefully have that prepared to launch in November, possibly that last week of veto session, because while veto starts in November, as you know, it finishes in that first week of January. We call it the lame duck session. So sometime in that, cranberry sauce, from cranberry sauce to the last day of Christmas gift return, I think is where we're probably at.
And do you have any sense of the specific changes to tier 2 that we may see and maybe supporting?
I know what's on the table. I don't know what the final plate's going to look like. And don't hold me to this because, like I said, this is organic. But
Right.
I would think, without a doubt, the one thing I'm reasonably confident on, tier 2, they only get a pension on a portion of what they earn. That's capped at a low number, about $120,000, $124,000. We're going to see that come up and that be at least as good as the Social Security wage base. I think that'll happen for sure. There are federal compliance issues that kind of make that a pretty much a non-starter to do anything worse than that. I also think COLA, the cost of living adjustment, is at the lesser of 3% or half of CPI. If I had to put money down, I would bet that that'll get brought up to something around 3%. Simple, maybe not. I don't think it's going to be tier 1. I'm not suggesting that we're going to get rid of tier 2 and it's going to be at the tier 1 level, but I think some big steps up. I think something on retirement age. Folks, teachers max out at about 34 and a half years, 34 and a quarter years. But if they have to work till they're age 67, they're going to be maxed out, but keep working for many years after that. I think something to deal with that, maybe either bring that age down or maybe some type of early retirement or max out and go. I don't know. That's still being discussed quite a bit. And there are different camps within the folks on what they'd like to see. But I think something on that. And then just a whole bunch of other tweaks and changes, where tier 2 just failed to meet. But I think taken as a package, these aren't just going to be tweaks. I think it's going to be a substantive and significant increase in benefits. Certainly that's what we think it should be. And that's what we're, fighting for and advocating for with our brothers and sisters in IEA and IPT and Principals Association and others.
So that's a good point that you just made, and a good segue to another question that came to mind as you were talking. When tier 1 and tier 2, that legislation was approved, I think there was a bit of a feeling that at some point down the road, the General Assembly was going to have to revisit this structure. So do you think that the upcoming changes that are being forced by many different, a lot of different issues are converging at once? Do you think that these upcoming changes are going to be substantial enough that we don't have to revisit this again for many years down the road? Or is this going to be another kick the can for a couple decades?
Yeah, no, I think, and I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I've had this conversation roughly 642 times with both chairpersons and with leadership, with folks from the governor's office. At least right now, there seems to be an understanding that they need to fix it. And you referenced the fact that right now the TRS's existence as a Social Security replacement plan, basically having those teachers not be enrolled in Social Security, that's in jeopardy. There's tax laws that have been brought up. There's a whole bunch of compliance issues with tier 2. I don't think they want to meet. I think some members of the legislature would like to go in and make the bare minimum changes, but I think they're a small minority. I think members on both sides of the aisle, I think, in both parties, from downstate, from Chicagoland, from all points in between, I think the general consensus is let's get this right. Everybody's got a different sense of what right should be. Some folks over here probably think right is more generous. Some folks over here think it's less generous. So I don't want to pin down exactly what it'd be, but I do think it will be substantive and not just sort of a bare minimum. Let's comply with the least amount of retirement security the federal law will allow us to.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, the bonding houses are watching us.
Mm-hmm.
And
interestingly enough, because you mentioned the bonding houses did, and Fitch Rating Agency in particular, did sort of crack the door to, we understand that these benefits may not meet federal requirements. We understand that these benefits may need to be increased. But they really, which is unusual. They're not chatty people, right? Bond houses aren't like, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee and catch up. They're usually kind of sit in their towers and talk as little as possible. the fact that they came out and said, we're acknowledging this, and that in and of itself doesn't scare us in the context of taking a serious discussion about funding and the state's commitment to funding that they've been making. So they did say, you know, if it's just a conversation about just benefit enhancements, we're not super interested in hearing that conversation. But if it's part of an overall modernization, if it's Illinois truly sort of having a long-term plan to get out of the problems that they're in, they kind of left it open to, you know, we think that might be reasonable. We'll let you know after the
Right.
final package.
I just wanted to revisit a question about Governor Pritzker's plan proposal during the budget address to get us to 100% funding as well. Earlier this spring, I was talking to a local unit in Area 5 at their meeting in Tuscola. And during the legislative update that I gave that day, the question came out, you know, when I mentioned that Pritzker outlined a goal of 100% funding, the question was, but he can't promise that. So what happens when he leaves? Could you address that and kind of walk us through what it means to say we want to go to 100% funding, and then maybe like what the optics would be if a future seat holder in that position were to walk that goal backwards?
Yeah, so, you know, people ask this question a lot, you know, what guarantees can you give? It's like, well, generally speaking, none. But, you know, I've got a couple decades watching this process, and I can tell you big funding changes like that, I mean, that would be significant. And I think the chances of it being walked back are relatively de minimis. I mean, again, you mentioned the bond houses, they're sort of an enforcement arm of reasonable intelligence. You know, they would come in and whack you heavy. I mean, if you went from a goal of 100% funding and you backed that off at some future day, they would have a lot to say about that, none of which would be pleasant. The reason that anybody cares what they have to say is because the worse the bond rating, the higher the cost of Illinois borrowing. And Illinois borrows a lot of money just in the course of life, you know. Every state does. That's not a dig at Illinois. Every state borrows a lot of money. So, I mean, is it a guarantee? Can I say absolutely? This is now we know everything that's going to happen until 2048. No. Is IRTA still going to be in the Capitol every year fighting for the funding? Absolutely. Have we been since we've existed as an entity? Absolutely. So we're still going to be fighting for it, but it is a significant step, and it's a lot easier for them to not fund on a law that's to fund on a law that hasn't been passed, right? They don't have 100% now. Then it's going to be once they set that goal, and then if they don't meet it. So I do think, just like with any goal setting action, and that's what this ultimately is, a goal setting action, it's important to set goals. It's important to set the right goals, and setting the goals does have determinants on what we're doing to get to that, regardless of what happens in the late 2040s. You know, I do think it's significant.
I think we should get back to some of the other issues that were approved in during the session, including the subject shortage area return to work, and some of the benefit enhancements for trip and trail.
So the BIMP bill. So normally the BIMP bill, nobody cares about the BIMP bill. And this is something like, you know, we nerd out about, but the membership typically doesn't care about this. It goes back, this is conceptually, you can't pass a budget that has appropriation and substantive language in the same bill per the Constitution of the state of Illinois. So there's always two bills to the budget. We just usually don't talk about this one. This year's different. There were a few things that went in there. First one, I'll start in the boring and get more interesting. Comptroller had an issue this year. She wanted the ability to prepay the funding on TRS. You're like, okay, well, what do you mean? Well, the state doesn't get its revenue in 12 equal payments, right? They're not like a teacher. They don't get, you know, 24 checks a year, you know, all on the 1st and the 15th. They get a bunch of money maybe in September, and then maybe they don't get any money in October, November. Don't get a lot of money, you know. So they have these points where they have a big cash infusion. And what they do is they plan then to pay. They take some of that September money and set aside and pay for October and November costs as they come up. The comptroller did, and it's amazing we had to pass a law to do this, but we did. And it's a smart law. they said, instead of us sitting on that money, keeping it in our checking account, we'd like to give that money to TRS and SURS for universities and Illinois State Board of Investment for state employees. We want to give that money to them, let them invest it, and then they can keep the extra money. So TRS is going to get every dollar they thought they were going to get. They just now have the ability to get it a little sooner, get it invested a little sooner, and then they get to keep the float on it. We're not going to get to 100% funded in 5 years because of this change. It's not dramatic. It's just one of those common sense, no-brainer, good ideas that we probably should have been doing 30 years ago. And Comptroller Mendoza was the one that kind of sat down and figured it all out and is doing it now. So thank you. And we'll be 46.321% instead of 46.32. But great.
Hey, every little bit helps.
Right.
So will that go into effect? Was that an effective immediate? So like say this September when there's a influx, she'll be able to
Yes.
Move those dollars per this new law.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, you can start doing that. Matter of fact, we're 10 days into this fiscal year. So July is not one of those months. The summer months aren't those big income months. So we probably won't see it for a while. But, we'll continue to track it. And again, it's nothing but upside.
Right.
The other BIMP thing, return to work in the subject shortage area. So every 3 years, we pass one of two bills. They're staggered. Either the extension of the return to work for all retired teachers. So this is the idea. If you want to go back and sub for some time, you can without giving up your annuity. Do for all the teachers from 100 days to 120 days. We did that last year, so that's got a couple more years left on it. This one was the return to work in subject shortage area. In a subject shortage area, you can return for the whole year. You're not capped at that 120 day. It is hard for school districts to establish a subject shortage area, so there aren't tons of these. They're not necessarily used all the time, but when they are used and where they are used, a lot of times in rural districts and a lot of times in languages like, math, science are the big ones, those are so not used a ton, but where it is used, super important. Sorry, I got distracted by a question that popped up, and I'll give the answer to it in just a second. We got that extended for another 3 years. Wasn't that hard, especially with all of the recruitment retention issues and everything that's going on. Again, broadly supported by school districts and principals and superintendents and everything. Somebody did ask if there was a cap on the amount of money that you can get. No. Some of the systems like State University's retirement system do have caps. TRS doesn't. They cap the number of days, not the total salary paid. Unless there are federal tax issues elsewhere otherwise, but generally speaking, no. So that was the other change. So again, not super exciting, but impactful. Third change, I think, is super exciting. So we've been working for years and years to try and get dental and vision coverage for teachers. Community college employees have it, state employees have it. We've always wanted, what others have. We took the first big step towards getting that done. The language was included in the BIMP bill. So the enabling legislation passed in the BIMP bill that allows CMS to offer dental and vision to retired teachers as part of the TRIP or trail benefit program. I keep saying first step because everybody should understand that CMS still has to do a bunch of things, right? They got to go out and sign contracts with providers. They've got to, pass whatever rules they need to pass. That needs to go through JCAR, and that's a process in and of itself. So there's many steps before we're going to be able to say, okay, this is the benefit, and this is this, and this is that. But when we have some sense, again, based on what SCRS, state employees and community colleges have, but first step here in getting this, I have a feeling we're going to have a lot more discussion about dental and vision with the members. I mean, I think there's a plan to put information out as we know it. So just want to say, don't make any changes. Whatever you're doing now for dental and vision, keep doing it. Don't make any changes. We will walk you through everything you're going to need to know about that, as will CMS be putting things out, and other, everybody will be talking about this. But again, first big step on that pretty significant benefit increase.
Right. Yes, and I just want to expand on your statement about more communication and more information. That those, as information becomes available, we will certainly be sharing what we know when we know it with our membership. And I think it's important to note as well that this is a benefit enhancement that is on its way, but it's not a benefit that is ready to be taken advantage of and utilized today or tomorrow. I was recently in a meeting with staff from the Department of Central Management Services, and right now their goal for our members who are on the Trail Healthcare Plan, the goal is to have the dental and vision benefits as part of the open enrollment process during October 2024, so that those benefits can become available and utilized as of January 1st of 2025. This is their estimated timeline goal. As that becomes more concrete, we will certainly put information out there. And IRTA is cautioning you, particularly if you have any dental work or appointments coming up in the next few months, do not make any changes to any current plan that you have right now. IRTA is also working closely with our partners at AMBA to review the plan or the benefits that you will be receiving from the state, because we just want to make sure that all of our valued members are getting the same or better level of benefits that are available to you today.
So there was, I think that was the BIMP bill. It was nice to have all of the work kind of concluded at the end of the session. And again, we can start fresh, focusing on these funding changes and focusing on, our role in the tier 2 changes. And it's going to be a busy summer. We're going to be testifying quite a bit. And I think that's going to go into a busy fall. So
Right.
that's where we're at.
I just want to remind all of our attendees today that if you have any questions for Andrew or myself, please put those in the chat. We already had one that Andrew addressed for us. So if there's any more, please don't be shy and let us know what your questions are. In the meantime, while we're waiting for additional questions to come through, I did want to touch base on an issue that may be of importance to the members in Area 5. I'm sure that you have already heard the good news that Aetna and HSHS Medical Group were able to reach an agreement on their contract. And even though the members of that are in Trail, you wouldn't have been impacted either way in the absence of a contract or with a contract. But given that everyone came to an agreement, this definitely alleviates any confusion that might be out there. So we're also definitely considering this as good news that we can share with everyone today. So, and I guess everyone is shy, or we did a really good job, Andrew, because I'm not seeing any questions in the chat for us. So with that, we'll conclude the legislative update for today's Area 5 virtual conference. And our next speaker is Sharon Teefee. Sharon is the IRTA Political Action Committee Chair, and Sharon will be reviewing the 2024 candidate endorsement process and other updates regarding the Political Action Committee. So thank you everyone for attending today, and we hope that you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks. Thank you.
I'm Sharon Teefee, your IRTA PAC Committee Chairperson. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as your IRTA PAC Chairperson. I remain committed to working with committee volunteer members, IRTA leadership, and staff to ensure that the importance of IRTA PAC remains top of mind as an important IRTA member benefit. To continue to be successful, we need your help. Our goal is simple, but powerful: to make a lasting impact on retirement policies and the benefits of retired teachers through community engagement, advocacy, and fundraising efforts. The IRTA PAC exists to elect, educate, and build rapport with legislators who understand the importance of preserving pensions and healthcare benefits, and elect those who make pension and healthcare funding a priority in our state's fiscal policies. The decisions made by our elected officials directly impact the policies and benefits we each receive. By actively participating in the political process and supporting initiatives such as IRTA PAC, we help shape legislation that affects our well-being and the future IRTA members' well-being. IRTA PAC kicked off our major political engagement initiative of the year, the 2024 general election candidate endorsement process. The IRTA PAC committee created a candidate questionnaire that was sent to every single candidate, Republican, Democrat, and third-party candidate who will be on the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot. A returned questionnaire is an IRTA requirement for endorsement consideration. Our goal is to put every candidate on record stating their support for protecting our pensions and our health care. Throughout the summer months, we will meticulously examine the answers provided on the return questionnaires. We will solicit feedback from our local units, consider voting records, and we will seek advice from our IRTA's committed government affairs team. The IRTA PAC committee's recommended endorsements will center exclusively on candidates who stand with us on our two primary concerns, pensions and health care. We will not consider their positions on other issues such as public education, environmental issues, or taxes. The IRTA PAC committee will approve or deny recommendations by means of majority vote. The IRTA PAC committee chair will submit for review all recommendations for endorsement to the IRTA PAC board of directors. The IRTA PAC board of directors will make the final recommendations. Once endorsed, a candidate will be notified via congratulatory letter and will receive the IRTA logo for use on marketing materials, a press release, and in some cases, a financial contribution. The second phase of the IRTA PAC committee's political engagement is purposeful: interaction with lawmakers. I encourage each of you to proactively initiate and arrange meetings with legislators when they're home in their district offices. This is particularly important after the general election is concluded and we shift our focus to establishing relationships with newly elected members of the Illinois General Assembly. It is vital that we personally convey to them the significance of our pledged pensions and affordable health care in shaping our lives and our retirements. The time has come to return to our roots and educate for the future, a future that is ours. Our state office staff stands with you with the latest information on fundraising events and social gatherings in your area. It is paramount to our continued legislative success that the IRTA maintain a strong political action committee. To that end, we need to work together and educate our fellow retirees on the vital role IRTA PAC plays in advocating for the rights and benefits of retired educators. The IRTA PAC is funded by voluntary contributions from IRTA members, just like you and me. By contributing to the IRTA PAC, you are playing a vital role in raising political awareness among IRTA members and enhancing our engagement with elected officials. Financially, we have observed a concerning trend. The IRTA PAC fund stands at $170,300. This is a noticeable decline in revenue over previous years. This dip coincides with the decline in membership of the $1 per month club. To truly affect change, we need to recommit to our fundraising efforts. To combat this trend, the IRTA PAC committee will initiate ongoing outreach to promote the $1 per month deduction for IRTA PAC and will market this program throughout the year. By reaching out to local units and members through personalized correspondence, we will hopefully encourage more of you to join the Dollar Club or to make a contribution. To that end, if you think you are a member of the $1 per month club, now is a great time to confirm your participation. IRTA members can contact the IRTA office and staff will be able to confirm your participation. If you aren't currently signed up, staff can walk you through the simple process or mail you a deduction form. You can also sign up by visiting the website shown on your screen. All members who sign up for the $1 per month club will receive an IRTA PAC lapel pin. I'd like to share my personal story of checking in to confirm my participation in the $1 per month club. As a lifelong advocate of public education, I knew as I grew closer to retirement that I wanted to join IRTA for their unwavering advocacy on behalf of my pension and my healthcare benefits. I took advantage of the IRTA pipeline membership by signing up in advance of my retirement. I also filled out the IRTA PAC donation form. After retirement, I knew my TRS statement reflected my monthly IRTA dues deduction, but it never occurred to me that my $1 a month club was not included. A glitch had occurred. The good news? It was easily remedied by filling out a new PAC donation form, and IRTA staff confirmed my enrollment with TRS. Now, I can proudly say that I see my monthly TRS statement reflect my IRTA dues deduction and my $1 per month IRTA PAC donation. Now I proudly say that I see my monthly TRS statement reflect my IRTA dues deduction on one line and my $1 per month IRTA donation on another line. The morals of the story, never assume. Things happen. There's an easy fix, lesson learned, and now shared. Contributing to IRTA PAC is simple, and every contribution makes a difference in advancing the protections of our pension and healthcare benefits. For this reason, I ask you, I urge you to join the 5,000 plus members who already contribute to the IRTA PAC $1 a month club. Through our financial support of IRTA PAC, we ensure that IRTA has the resources to continue fighting for the benefits we earned and we deserve. By working together and speaking with one collective voice, the 40,000 plus members of the IRTA will continue to maintain our presence as a powerful advocate on behalf of the Illinois retired educator community. Let's continue to do what we do best, educate others through effective advocacy. In closing, our united efforts and unwavering dedication will shape a brighter future for retirees. We must continue our diligent efforts by attending fundraising events, contributing to the monthly dollar deduction, and spreading our message among local units. By working together, we will safeguard our pensions and our healthcare benefits. Thank you for your continued support and dedication to the IRTA Political Action Committee. Have a great summer. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speakers. TRS annuitants Larry Pfeiffer and Doug Strand, who will provide you with an important TRS update. Larry, Doug?
Geez, Larry, hey,
I'm sorry.
good to see you. What happened?
Oh, local meeting got tied up. I know. You're waiting on it. We still got time to practice it.
We got time to practice.
You
This
sure?
would be great because Jessica wants us to kind of get it somewhat prepared.
All right, let me catch my breath. How you been?
Good, long time, from Rock Island County, couple hour trip, but got here a little early, so I knew you were gonna be just a hair late.
Yeah. Good meeting. Good.
oh.
Look what I brought. Brought the props we've been talking about, okay?
Let's do it.
You still want to do the 4 things we talked about?
Sure.
Timeline?
Timeline, no rope.
Oh, I gotta use rope. I'm an old. lady.
Okay,
Let
use
me
the rope.
try it. They cut it out.
We
if
can
they don't
try,
like it.
we can try.
Timeline, then we're gonna talk about what, the board itself.
The 15-member
players,
board.
Okay,
Who's what? One of us will do that.
investments and what we're doing.
Yeah, fixed income, private
Yeah,
equity,
okay.
all that stuff.
You're good at that. And then let's finish up with diversity, equity, inclusion, and those kind of things.
We can do, you
They
can,
like us talking about that,
you're,
okay?
you're good at that.
All right,
Okay,
let me go to
let's
the
see what we got.
props.
Sure.
Let me go to the props. My grandson helped me.
Your grandson,
Yeah.
oh, great,
Yeah,
that's
he's
right.
26.
He's what, how old is he?
Three.
Wow,
He's a real visual learner, so
okay.
you've heard about my rock, haven't you?
The Rock, just like what TRS is.
Yeah, you know how it got here?
Where'd it come from?
The glacier brought it. I'm not kidding you.
The
I
glacier,
found this in my backyard. This rock isn't native. It came somewhere probably around you, northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois.
About 100,000 years ago, it dropped it down. So I thought, this is our rock.
This is the rock.
This is gonna hold what you don't like, the string, but we're gonna do it anyway, guys.
Hold the string. Okay,
Okay.
okay. You want me, what do you want me to
Do me a
do?
favor, kind of wrap that around it, set it
All
down,
right,
and this is gonna represent the year the TRS was
started.
legislated.
Yes,
Put it down there.
okay.
All right, here's what you don't like. I know, man.
I know.
TRS. When it was started, actually TRS started the same time it had to,
In the year
1939.
1939.
And guess what? In 1939, I got a couple stickers here.
Well-
Yeah, let's put them out here, okay? 1939 TRS, put that on the rock, would you please?
Put that on the rock, okay.
4% contribution. You know what it is today?
Well, yeah, 9%.
Exactly. You're liking the
I
timeline.
like it. Okay.
1994, remember that?
1994, 50-year
Pension ramp.
pension ramp,
Put
yeah.
that down there. Sometimes called the Edgar pension ramp.
Edgar, yes, I
So you know
remember.
what?
What?
We're 30 years into a 50-year ramp?
Yes,
All right. 1998, remember the 2.2 contributions?
I did that. When
did
I
too.
was working, we were, yeah,
I did
2.2.
too. All right,
Oh, yes, 2010.
why don't you,
Tier 2 started
tier two started.
January 1st, 2011.
Yeah,
Okay,
here's another milestone, dude.
very important.
What is it?
2015,
ILC, Illinois Supreme Court did a ruling, said pensions may not be,
diminished nor impaired.
Right.
It was what? Unanimous.
Yeah.
Because the state was going to ask us to take either our 3% or our healthcare, and we already had that.
Right.
Why take it away?
it was an important point on.
Yes, very
I think
important.
you're like my timeline. Be honest,
I like the timeline.
this is today,
Today.
where we're at. And
Oops.
then, oh yeah, watch your copy.
Sorry.
And the nice thing about the pension system, it slides with it. It can't go backwards, right?
Correct,
TRS
correct.
is here today. I got two more in the future.
The foundation,
You
yes.
want to think that far out? 2045.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard about that. Yeah, well, down here, 2045.
So we gotta
the-
be 90% funded in 2045,
Is that just TRS or all 5 public pensions?
TRS.
TRS.
Well, let's just speak to TRS,
Let's
okay?
stick with TRS.
Also, where we at today? What's our funding level?
44%.
And here's what I'm gonna do. Let's use this as a graph and go like 44% funding off that line.
Mhm.
90% would what be over here?
Whoa,
We got a ways to go.
ways to go. Long play to go.
I got one more. I'll put that out in a minute, okay?
Okay,
But I think of this line, you're over on the active side,
yes,
right?
Yep.
Because you're spending your money, you're putting it into
I'm an
TRS,
active retiree,
you're putting money in.
putting money in,
Putting money in on
Nine.
that side of the equation.
9%.
I'm on this side of the equation as an annuitant. I'm taking money out.
Whoa. I am an annuitant, but yes, I'm acting as an active teacher, of which there are 169,000. And
About 100 and what? on this-
31 retirees like us.
Right, over
And in
here,
the middle, there's some inactive people.
look at here. My grandson had a great idea.
Oh, my gosh.
These can be our inactives. They're
Inactive.
setting this one out, okay?
They're sitting that out.
But yet they have put money in the system.
They have put money in the system,
Right.
147,000 some.
Where are the four sources that money comes into the system? Teachers,
Teachers,
yep,
state,
state,
schools.
schools. What's our job?
Oh, yeah, TRS. We have to take the
Invest.
money that we have gotten from all of the active and all the active teachers and make sure we make money.
If we just left the money on the table and drug it this direction, what's gonna happen?
Inflation, it would lose value.
Yeah.
As an economics teacher, you would lose value.
So and they always talk about buckets, and I'm just an old country boy, so I brought buckets.
Okay, which there are many,
Oh.
but they all go in.
I brought buckets,
You brought buckets of the
different
kids.
shapes and sizes.
All right.
And you know, when they talk about risk, they're always saying, hey, you want good returns, but yet I thought about this. That's pretty risky, isn't it?
If it's on the side like that, yes.
Especially since we have to
Balance
and get up a rate of return of 7%.
we okayed that.
We did.
We make sure our assumed rate of return is, the risk is
Yeah,
around 7%,
which is one of our jobs.
Which
as a
sometimes-
trustee.
sometimes more, sometimes less. And
Go.
TRS, from all our meetings, when the market goes way up, we may not get near the top, but on the way down,
Our buckets are set up. for
we
that.
are set up for that so that we don't lose as much as everybody else.
It's kind of like this.
It
Right.
is a little bit, yes,
Some of them are down here losing, others are
winning.
winning.
So we've always been, over 20, 30 years, we've been getting around.
9%, that direction.
Yes,
Looking back in time, 9%.
yes, which has not been bad,
Not been bad, but
which makes us,
it's harder.
It is.
and Harder,
we need
harder
harder and harder
to
to,
hold it up here.
yes, it is.
We can invest our way out of this.
No,
Correct.
no,
Okay, can we set the table down for a minute?
yes, sir.
Okay. Buckets, equities, right? Big amount, public and private.
Public,
equities.
private equities,
We got some fixed income.
fixed income,
We've got real assets
real assets, real
and diversifying strategies.
diversified strategies.
And within those, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and.
What is it, 172 or 100 and some
172, and I'm gonna use.
money managers across the
managers,
world
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to help us make money?
these are money managers right here. I don't put them in, I put them underneath.
Okay,
Make sense? And now let's talk a little bit around this orbit here.
okay.
I'm standing right here in the middle of the TRF staff orbit.
Mhm.
You know, we got our 220 employees and tons of consultants, and they kind of help us pick out the money managers,
The right managers.
the right managers.
They're vested and stress tested.
Yeah. You know, something else Illinois does? Well, you know this.
Boy, good.
There's only two ways to put the cards down, right? Face down and face up.
Correct?
Some states say face down. We don't care.
No
Illinois, we want cards up.
transparency.
We want to know women, minority owned,
All
disability
those,
firms.
yes.
As a matter of fact, Illinois, and let me go over here again. You can stand there. You
Okay.
can be a member of the General Assembly. That's the General Assembly,
I'll be the general
the
assembly.
governor, the,
Representatives, the
Yeah.
senators,
they're the ones that did all this, right?
they're
Those are
responsible for
Those
all
are
that.
legislative initiatives. They're the ones that said, okay, TRS and other pension systems, put those cards up. We want to know. Our goal is what,
22% or so, but we're at,
29,
yes,
29% women.
funded, yeah,
Of
Of
women,
our-
minority owned.
of the big bucket,
Of all the buckets,
all the buckets.
all the buckets. I
Okay,
think we've done pretty good explaining that.
okay.
You know what we haven't spent a lot of time doing? Why don't you come up to the front here? You and I have been talking as old buddies. We're not talking it as annuitants,
Okay,
or excuse me, we're not talking as trustees.
as trustees,
We can't.
no,
But when we get together as a board, we got what? Two annuitants, two on this side of the
two
line.
retired people.
Yep, we're over here. And on that side of the line, the actives, we got 5
5 active teachers in Illinois
from the classroom.
from the classroom.
And then the governor appoints,
Yeah, the government- 8 political appointees from the governor's
including
office,
the
which is a total of
15. Yeah,
yeah,
15.
15.
We do money. We do money.
15, okay,
So that's the makeup of the board. And
Correct.
I really did a deep dive on what we do when we're in this circle.
when we're over here, yes.
We certify the statutory rate as well as the actuarial rate. That's,
The extra from, yes,
we certify the insurance.
correct,
We set probably the biggest fight and the only disagreement I've ever had with you over time, and probably still will, is what is going to be our
Our-
anticipated rate of return.
our assumed rate of return,
Yes.
which is at 7. Good,
I think we better spend some time saying we don't come in with a whiteboard and an idea and scratch our head.
we could, yeah.
We hear hours and hours and hours of,
Yes, we spend a lot of hours and I give you a lot of credit and the people who are on that board, the time and effort they put into protecting our pensions and benefits.
but getting that rate of return is really important because if we lower it just 1/4%,
Yes.
it costs the state millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. of
State would have to kick in more money, yes.
But it's something we got to get right.
We have to get very good. And those people at TRS, as you said, do a very good job of protecting us.
They do. They invest as well.
Okay.
And the last job that we do from this group is kind of determine the buckets.
Yes,
Oh, buckets.
buckets. Uh-oh,
I brought this too, because some of the investment, we got to put a lid on those buckets.
yes, in a certain level.
I did that one time with a group. I said, it's got to be liquid. The money we have coming in
Yes.
has to go out. Some of these investments are great investments with huge returns, but we don't get them until over here.
They're farther out, long-term investments. These have to be liquid, short-term, so that we have enough cash in order for TRS to send us our direct deposits.
I think that is about it, Doug. Oh, on the way up, I thought of something.
Okay,
Do you think we can work in? I'm not a part of the defined contribution.
oh, the
System.
DC plan, defined contribution, the SSP 457
supplemental
plan
savings.
for active teachers.
Those active teachers can
Yes.
put money, but I brought this because this money won't fit in there. Makes sense?
Good point.
This money goes into our different buckets.
Yes.
What can we tell them about the supplemental savings plan?
I wish we had it years ago when we were younger. And it is an opportunity for those people to put 3% if they're in the program as of January 2021. Or just recently, they have to be in there,
It's an opt.
but they can opt out. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't, if they don't have to.
They're automatically enrolled, right?
They would be wise to get into it. And we have what, 13, 14 different areas and part of BlackRock, different categories and all this stuff, large cap, small cap, money markets. And we have, what was the recent number? Was it so many million?
200 or 20? It starts with a 2.
It is start with a 2. We'll have to check that out.
The reason I don't remember it that much is I just know that TRS money can't go in here and vice
No.
versa.
It's 2 separate accounts.
Don't they even,
They're individual accounts
Okay.
that they direct themselves, that TRS and Voya have put together a plan for them to supplement their
Okay.
TRS. Now, TRS is
falls
good.
on TRS's table?
It does come on our table to
Okay.
discuss, yeah.
And don't we separate out the staff fees and everything else? In other words,
It
TRS,
is.
no money's going into that. Okay.
Those active teachers will have to pay a small fee, but it's smaller than they'll ever have to pay to guarantee future income for them.
Okay.
It's
Thank
a
you.
great program that you were there. I was
know,
there.
I
We,
know, but
we,
you explain it better than me. And
we
hopefully
started
we
it.
can work that in our presentation because I
That'd
think
be
it's
good.
important.
I think it would be good to let the retired people who are
we need to.
going to see that presentation tell their friends.
I've only got one other thing.
What else we got?
Lately, the governor has said, let's not worry about 2045. At 90%, why don't we talk about 100% at 2048?
That's what he proposed,
And that's all I know is they're having conversations.
conversations.
I've been telling teachers kind of watch that space,
Okay,
because there's conversations. When we were at the board meeting, we've had 2 presentations on safe harbor and tier 2,
yes,
one from an attorney and one from actuarials. I just hear the conversations going on.
it's going on in Springfield and people don't realize that TRS can't change that. Springfield has to change that.
The spot you're standing in, the
My
elected
spot,
officials,
the elected
governors,
officials, yes.
they're the ones that have set up these timelines. They're
Mhm.
the ones that have set up these initiatives. We didn't deal with
Exactly.
those 3 things there.
Exactly. I think the rope was okay.
It's going to work, you think?
I think so.
All right, let me catch my breath.
And then we'll get ready.
Yeah, I gotta get
We'll
my
tell,
time on it.
tell Jess that we're ready to roll.
You think we're going to do okay?
Boy, I hope so. No one's seen this yet, but I hope so. Hope we can go through it again and do a
You ever
good
get
job.
nervous on one of these presentations?
Not really.
Oh,
I,
man,
do you really?
Yeah.
No
I
way.
didn't even eat lunch today. I'm serious.
They have lunch upstairs, I believe. You are very good at what you do.
Is that? Camera on?
What?
I'm Bob Kaplan, and I'm proud to serve as the chair of the newly created Leadership Development Committee. The Leadership Development Committee is responsible for succession planning for the leadership of the association. The committee is also responsible for soliciting candidates for leadership roles and to prepare a slate of candidates for elected IRTA positions, including those joining me today. President Mike Schmidt, Vice President Rainey Kaplan, and Treasurer Donnie Ostrom. This year, the Leadership Development Committee is being driven by the 3 I's: interest, information, and involvement. The committee consists of Gail Wright from Area 1, Ray Kaufman, Area 3, Gene Sowers from Area 4, David Savage from Area 5, and Area 6 by Diane Kunkel. At this time, there is a vacancy for Area 2. So if anybody out there is interested, please let us know at the IRTA office. Right now, our committee is trying to locate members who are interested in volunteering. We need members for us to inform and answer questions about IRTA so we can encourage them to pursue leadership opportunities. Volunteer leaders are the backbone of our advocacy, our initiatives, and our community. If you have considered lending your expertise, your vision, your voice to help shape the future of IRTA, now's the time. We're looking for strategic thinkers, team builders, and inspirational leaders who want to help foster connections, spearhead initiatives, and assist in leading IRTA on a continued path to success and strength on behalf of Illinois' retired educators. IRTA Secretary LaVon Cheney recently stated, "I have volunteered for IRTA and am serving as an officer as I believe that the IRTA is the one and only organization that is working for me and my benefits as a retired teacher. IRTA has also allowed me to become a part of a network of retired teachers that I may never have had the opportunity to meet and learn from." And also, immediate past president Bill Funkhauser had this to say, "Shortly after I retired, I received a call from a gentleman who was the cooperating teacher for my student teaching. And the gentleman who was my 4th, 5th, and 6th grade PE teacher asked me to join the Madison County RTA and the state IRTA, which I did. They also encouraged me to not just be a member, but to get involved in leadership. Less than a year later, we learned that we would lose our health insurance from TRS due to the underfunding. They asked me to join them in going to Springfield to lobby for health insurance, and as a result, the TRIP plan was created. I saw the need to take an active part in the efforts to protect our pensions and our health insurance benefits. I volunteered and became a member of the legislative committee. Later, I was asked by the area representative who was planning to run for treasurer if I would consider running for the area representative position. I became the area representative, then later vice president, and finally as president. It has been very rewarding and satisfied serving IRTA members in these positions. One of the things I find most enjoyable is meeting and getting to know dedicated IRTA members from all over the state. I would encourage everyone to get involved, whether it be in your local unit, as a state committee member, or even as a state officer. I want to thank LaVon and Bill for sharing their personal stories of pursuing opportunities to lead IRTA into the future. I'm excited to be joined today by the IRTA Vice President and Treasurer who responded yes to the invitation to serve in a leadership capacity for the Illinois Retired Teachers Association. At this time, I would like to ask the IRTA volunteer leaders from the association to share with the audience what is their why for volunteering their time to the IRTA. At this time, I think I'm going to start here with Donnie Ostrom. Donnie, what is your why for why you started to get active in the association?
I first got involved in our local unit, which is Clinton County Retired Teachers. And then I saw the need for people to be involved at all levels. They passed Tier 2, and I looked at what teachers were going to receive from that Tier 2 level passage. And it just seemed it was time to make sure that we protected our pension and benefits. I got a call from a fellow by the name of Bob Pinkerton, who was president of the IRTA at the time. And he called me up and he said, "I have a job for you." And I said, "Well, what is that, Bob?" And Bob said, "I need a regional director." Little did he tell me I'd spend 6 years as the regional director. And when that finished, I became the treasurer when our other treasurer decided it was time to hang it up. And fortunate enough, I have been here, this is 5 years. I have one more, which will be 6. And really, it's paying it forward that those teachers who joined after 2010, the passage of Tier 2, they need someone to help speak for them. And I see that as an important part of my job.
Well, thank you. And in fact, we're very happy that you came to the association and are doing a fine job as our treasurer.
Thank you, Bob.
At this time, I'd like to toss it over to Rainey Kaplan. What was your why for joining the association?
Well, last May, when I was getting ready to retire, there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to join the IRTA. In fact, my husband, Bob, gifted me with a lifetime membership in both my state and local IRTA unit. So I was very excited there. One of the first emails I got was a Google form saying, hey, do you want to volunteer for something? I'm a person who jumps into the deep end, no matter what, organization I'm in. So I said, why not? I filled out the form. I found out that the IRTA was in desperate need of needing a vice president. And so I said, sure, why not? And so I became the vice president. Luckily, I have a lot of good mentors in, Mike, Donnie, Bob, Roger, Bill, Levon. Everybody's willing to help me out with any questions I might have. So that's kind of took the fear out of doing that. I really do have a unique story. Not everybody becomes vice president in their first year of being in an organization. But I feel like everybody needs to join and help out somewhere. The organizations and associations can't thrive without volunteerism, whether it's an hour of making phone calls, answering emails, writing emails, knocking on doors, helping to organize a function. I think that's just really important. So that's why I did it.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being in the deep end. At this time, I think I'm going to ask our president, Mr. Mike Schmidt, to tell us what his why is.
Yeah. Maybe it's a character flaw. I know it isn't genetic, but all my life I've volunteered to help out with things. And when I retired, I didn't have a choice. My wife had just retired before I had. My mother had retired many years before. Both of them were members of the IRTA, and so I joined the IRTA. And it didn't take me long to realize that even though I belong to the Blackhawk unit, which is a pretty sizable unit up in Rock Island County, there's still a lot of opportunities to help out. And I started off on the membership committee, and then I became the membership committee chair, and then vice president and president. And when my presidency of the unit ended in a 2-year term, I said to Bob Pinkerton, do you have any positions available where I can help out at the state level? And he immediately appointed me to the Constitution Committee. And then shortly after that, I became chair of the membership committee. And as I said, maybe it's a character flaw, but I just believe in volunteering and helping out. And as a history teacher, a former history teacher, one of my favorite quotes is from John Adams. And Adams said, there are only 2 creatures of value on the face of the earth, those with commitment and those who require the commitment of others. And I prefer to be in the former. After my presidency is over, I'm sure I'll find something to volunteer to help out with yet. So that's where I was.
And of course, now what we'd like to offer you is a chance for you to commit to the organization as a volunteer to assist us in getting this association to even better spot than it is today. So thank you for sharing your personal stories and also saying yes when you were called upon to join me today for this little sharing of what your whys were. And now I think I'm going to turn it over to that man, the myth, the legend, Larry Newman over at AMBA.
Okay, and thank you very much. Always appreciate that introduction by my good buddy there. So really happy to be here, guys. Really excited to be here and always appreciate being invited to speak at this forum. This time now with Area 5. I've got some really good updates for you, and just kind of I'm going to try to hang out afterwards to see if anybody has any questions or anything that they would just want to talk about that is related to AMBA and member benefits. If you don't mind, I'm going to share screen quickly here to give you a quick update. So hopefully you will all be able to see this. So I want to give just kind of a refresher, I guess. There may be some folks on this call that that are newer to the association and don't know as much about who AMBA is and what we do. And basically, we take that comprehensive approach, number one, to attracting and then retaining members for your association. That is our number one goal. We work as a partner with the IRTA, and as we have for many, many years, and really kind of utilize that partnership to do what we call strategy-based marketing. We're working on a couple of different programs together as we speak. We really try to help the IRTA with, help out with technology, with data management, helping out with the website. And a lot of those emails that you see on a monthly basis that come out, utilizing their constant contact, just to kind of, to keep members engaged. Keeping members engaged, I think, is really, really important. And most importantly for that is about acquiring new members. So when we are sending out those monthly emails, sometimes I'll get a message from somebody like, gosh, I got another email from you guys. I'm like, most of those emails, just so you know, are going out to potential members. So either people for whatever reason decided not to retain their IRTA membership, which I'm not sure why anybody would do that. But we are constantly marketing them, and we are especially marketing potential members. We want to make sure that we can do everything possible to retain members. And one of the ways, as most of you know on this call, is by providing discount programs, ways for members to save money. And I hope some of you have taken advantage of Passport. That program is getting better and better, literally by the month. Fantastic program. I think we did a webinar. We got a couple webinars on the Passport program throughout the year. And then, of course, the insurance and supplementary benefit programs that we have. We, so far to date, for the first half of the year, have done a record number of benefit reviews with either potential IRTA members, new IRTA members, or obviously existing membership. And what's really interesting is, back in the day when I was an agent, many of you who might have worked with me in the past, I was coming out to your homes, and now we're doing 75% of the meetings we have are now over Zoom, just like this. So, if I were an agent today, I guess I would miss, going to the houses and getting cookies and snacks and pies to bring home with me, sometimes plants and things to put in the garden. But, we tell people today, look, you don't have to fix up the house. We can meet with you over Zoom, just like we're at your home. And again, 75% of the meetings we're having with the membership today are over Zoom, which is pretty remarkable from where we were, prior to 2020. A couple other things that I want to update you with, here in Area 5, most of that would be considered in this blue area right here. And the field market leader for that particular area is somebody who you should be pretty familiar with. It's Nancy Kramer. Nancy has been with the company as long as myself, which, by the way, I've now been here. I'm in my 15th year at AMBA. It's hard to believe. Nancy is always available to either have herself or one of her amazing agents come out to speak at a local unit meeting. We now have 7 different speaking topics available for unit meetings that are anywhere from 7 to 15 minutes. We took a lot of advice from the membership over the years to try to trim our kind of tailor our presentations so they are not, 45-minute long, lengthy presentations, but somewhere between 7 to 15 minutes. And these are some of the categories right here that we can do these. We're also doing lunch and learn seminars. For prospecting, getting new members into your local units, and of course into the state association. So you can always scan this QR code. many of you probably have also worked with Paul Strid, who, he speaks at a lot of the local unit meetings in Area 5 as well. And now we also have a brand new field market leader, and she does have a piece of that territory as well. Her name is Jenny Deal. So going back to the, if I could just bring it up here, Jenny's territory is mostly in red. So, she handles almost all of Area 6, but I think she cuts a little bit possibly into Area 5 as well. So her information and Nancy's information are going to, once all these meetings are over, I got to tweak a couple things. We're going to get this stuff posted on the website. So we're excited about that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the IRTA monthly webinar series. So you all, or most of you, should be familiar with these. These happen every single month. The next up and coming webinar is going to be all about long-term care. It's one of the most popular webinars that we have. We actually have two of them. This is kind of a part one, and then part two will be a little bit later in the year. Exploring the myths and realities of what's covered when it comes to long-term care. What does Medicare cover? What about, major medical plans? What are the options? Do you even need it? Many folks have it and have had some rate increases. We're there to help explain how we can offset that and help you with that. And that's why I recommend, if you have had a rate increase, which I know some of you have had, we recommend doing a review of benefits once a year, and we can probably help you stop the bleeding on that rate increase by doing a lot of different things. So that's really all I have today as an update. I just want to let everybody know that, we appreciate this partnership more than you know. I do miss coming out to the meetings live and in person and seeing everybody, but we're always here for you. And we're always here to be a wonderful partner of the Illinois Retired Teachers Association. At this point, I am now going to turn it over to Liz Vogt from the Illinois Department on Aging, and thank you all very much.
Hello, my name is Liz Vogt, Senior Policy Advisor at the Illinois Department on Aging. The Illinois Department on Aging is a state agency, and our mission is to serve and advocate for older Illinoisans and their caregivers by administering quality and culturally appropriate programs that promote partnerships and encourage independence, dignity, and quality of life. One of the best ways to get in touch with the Illinois Department on Aging is through our senior helpline. The number is 1-800-252-8966. On Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., our staff will be able to answer your phone calls and your questions. You can also reach us by email if it's after 5 or before 8 a.m. Another way to learn about IDOA programs and services is through our website. You can find us at ilaging.illinois.gov. When you visit our Illinois Department on Aging website, you'll notice a service locator. Because our aging network services are broken down by regional areas in the state, we have a handy map on our website that allows you to search for programs and services delivered by our aging network partners that are provided in your neighborhood. The Illinois Department on Aging and our aging network partners come together to deliver a variety of programs and services in all areas of the state of Illinois. Some of the programs and services that we're going to talk about today are listed here on the slide and include services and programs delivered by our AAAs, or our area agencies on aging, our community care program, our adult protective services program, our ombudsman programs, our benefit access program, and the senior health insurance program, or SHIP for short. So we're going to start off by learning about our AAAs, or our area agencies on aging. There are 13 area agencies on aging throughout the state of Illinois, and each area agency on aging represents a geographic area in the state. So they're responsible for planning and coordinating programs for the older adults in their geographic area. AAAs will serve all older adults age 60 and over, but their primary focus is on those older adults who have the greatest economic or greatest social need. AAAs in and of themselves are typically not direct service providers. They have contracts throughout their communities with community service providers who deliver those services to our older adults throughout the community. So some of the programs and services that a AAA may offer through a funded partner include things like nutrition services. So we know some older adults are not able to cook for themselves anymore, or may not have a family member or a friend close by. And our AAAs really step in to meet those nutritional gaps. They do this through home delivered meals. So a local provider will deliver a hot, nutritious, balanced meal to the door of an older adult. Depending on the older adult's schedule, it can be every day, Monday through Friday, or those select days that they're in need of that meal. Our AAAs also offer congregate dining opportunities. This isn't just a place where older adults come together to have a meal, but also they have the ability to socialize with each other and to engage in activities and come together as a community for opportunities that really combat loneliness and social isolation, in addition to the nutritious meal that they're served. We also, through our AAAs, provide counseling or nutritional counseling to help educate older adults on what types of food are fuel for their bodies, what types of foods they should be eating based on nutritional, medical conditions. And the older adults have the ability to work with our dietitians to develop those meal plans and that education. Other programs include respite. So respite is traditionally a service for a caregiver. If a caregiver, a primary family member, a caregiver is taking care of an older adult family member, but maybe they need to run a few errands, or maybe they're having a doctor's appointment or a surgery or an unexpected health event. Respite provides services to relieve the caregiver. Transportation is offered through our AAAs as well. This includes transportation that an older adult may arrange with a provider to take them to doctor's appointments or to run errands or those types of things. We also have senior centers through our AAAs, and senior centers are a place where older adults gather in a community for activities and socialization. AAAs also offer evidence-based health programming for exercise programs, activity programs, stress busting programs, and really importantly, loop in our caregivers as well. So we know that caregivers often have a lot of responsibility on their plates. And so our AAAs have services and supports directly designed for our caregivers to help them ensure that they're in a healthy shape, both mentally and physically, and are able to keep on with their caregiving duties. Lastly, another area, legal assistance. If an older adult or their family needs assistance obtaining legal documentation or with powers of attorney or those sorts of things, the AAAs are the place to contact to be referred to a legal assistance provider. On our website, you'll see this map as well. We at the Department on Aging break our state down into geographic regions that are called planning and service areas, or PSAs for short. So the main thing that you need to know is you find your community located in the state of Illinois, and you'll know, for instance, I live in Menard County, so we're in PSA 7. And I can find all of the information about the providers and programs that are available to me in PSA 7 through the link and the map on our website. The next program we're going to talk about that is delivered through the Illinois Department on Aging is the Community Care Program. The Community Care Program is a Medicaid waiver program that is designed to give older adults the ability and independence to stay at home and age in place versus entering a nursing facility for care. The eligibility criteria for this program includes being age 60 or above, having an assessed need for long-term care. There's an assessment that is performed by our care coordinators called the determination of need. And that care coordinator, based on that assessment, can determine if your functional level is such that you would qualify for long-term care services. You also have to be a resident of the state of Illinois. You have to be a US citizen or fall into an eligible immigration status. You have to have non-exempt assets that are less than $17,500. So this is separate and apart from a primary home, a car, those sorts of assets. And you also have to apply for, and if eligible, enroll in the Medicaid program. So those are the eligibility criteria, but what does the program actually offer you? There are 4 services that fall under our community care program. In-home service. So this is a home care aide who comes to your home on a routine basis and helps you with activities of daily living. This could include things like bathing or dressing, grooming. It could include meal preparation and taking you to doctor's appointments and some of your laundry and light housework. There's also adult day service. So just as we talked about our senior centers under our AAA funded programs, our community care program, or CCP for short, offers adult day service. And again, this is where older adults come together at a location within their community for activities and socialization. And this can also be considered a form of respite. So if a primary family caregiver, must go to work during the day and they're concerned that their older adult loved one is home all by themselves, adult day service may be a great option for that older adult, that they can go to their adult day center, they can have nutritious meals, they can socialize and do activities, and also have the ability to get their medications that they may need throughout the day. The last 2 service areas are emergency home response service. So think about the button that you can press either on a pendant or on your wrist that may alert someone if you have fallen, if you've had an emergency and you can't get to your phone, and you need help, you need assistance. The last service area is called automatic medication dispenser service. And this is a tool that's used to help with medication adherence so that older adults remember to take their medications on time and in the right dose. You can access our community care program and all of these services through a care coordination unit. And there are care coordination units located throughout the state of Illinois in your geographic area, and you can find your respective care coordination unit through the link on the screen. Our next program area is adult protective services. Now, you all as teachers may be very familiar with the reporting requirements for children who may be abused or neglected and what that means and who to call and when to call. This Illinois Department on Aging operates a similar program for our older adults and adults with disabilities through our Adult Protective Services program. This program is locally coordinated through 36 provider agencies. And once a complaint is made, a caseworker will investigate the allegation, will coordinate with local service delivery options to mitigate risk and ensure that that older adult is safe and that they are taken care of. So if you have an individual who you're concerned, maybe a neighbor, a family member, a friend, where something is just not right with the situation. If you suspect that there's abuse, neglect, exploitation, or even self-neglect, you can call our Adult Protective Services hotline at 1-866-800-1409 to make a report and to get a case worker there to intervene and to determine what's going on and to really place supportive resources around that older adult. Our next program area are ombudsman programs. So this is a strange term. Not many people are familiar with the term ombudsman, but we have 2 programs. And an ombudsman, really, if you think about it, it's an advocate for, in the case of our long-term care ombudsman, an advocate for an older adult who lives in a nursing facility or other long-term care facility setting. So an ombudsman can either respond to complaints or to concerns by the resident, him or herself, or a family member who's concerned about a resident. They will go into the nursing facility and talk to that resident and understand what's going on and how that resident, him or herself, wants the situation resolved. So the ombudsman acts as an extension of the resident to help that resident advocate for themselves, to address concerns, and to put into place a solution that meets the resident's expectations. If you have any older adults in your life who reside in a long-term care facility setting and you're concerned about their care, you can always call our long-term care ombudsman program at 1-800-252-8966 or by emailing them at the email address on the screen. Our next ombudsman program is called our home care ombudsman. And so just like our long-term care ombudsman really focuses on residents of facilities in Illinois, our home care ombudsman really advocates for older adults and adults with disabilities who live at home in the community. In order to be eligible and to have a home care ombudsman act on your behalf, you have to live in the community, you have to be enrolled in one of the MMAI or Medicare Medicaid Alignment Initiative plans, and you have to be participating in one of the waiver programs on the screen. And if this is the case, a home care ombudsman can intervene on your behalf. They can, again, address concerns, advocate for you to ensure that the services and programs that you need are put into place and can address any other outstanding problems that you're experiencing with your services. You can reach the home care ombudsman again at the 1-800 number or by email at the email address on the screen. Our Benefit Access Program, or BAA for short, the name doesn't really give it as much credit as it's due. It is a program designed to give older adults and adults with disabilities discounts or free passes for fixed rate transit systems in Illinois, as well as discounts on license plates for vehicles in Illinois. The Illinois Department on Aging, we administer the application process for this program. And if you're interested, you can apply on our website. You'll also see on our screen some of the eligibility criteria. This is a program for lower income older adults and adults with disabilities. So there are income requirements and age requirements as well. But if this is something that you or one of your loved ones may be interested in, I would encourage you to complete an application on our website. And last but certainly not least, we offer the Senior Health Insurance Program, or SHIP for short. SHIP is an excellent program and really helps older adults and their family members navigate the complex world of health insurance coverage as an older adult. So not just Medicare coverage, but questions about supplements or long-term care insurance or how one program or policy interacts with another policy or plan. These SHIP counselors, as they're called, are independent. They're there to provide you with factual and up-to-date information and really help you navigate and make the best choice in health coverage for your specific situation. I can't stress it enough. My parents turned Medicare eligible within the last couple of years and found such benefit in having that independent, third-party, really trusted source of information to consult with, to kind of walk you through, does it make sense to sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan, or do I want to stick with regular Medicare, or do I need a supplement or a long-term care plan, or all of those things when we think about planning for the future. So this is a really valuable program. You can speak to someone over the phone, or there are SHIP counselors located throughout the state that can meet with you in person, face-to-face. You can reach out either by email or at the 1-800 number on the screen to be connected to our SHIP program. And with that, I just wanted to mention that, this is a snapshot of some of our most popular programs and services. I would encourage you to visit our website or to give our senior helpline a call if you have any questions or, have requests for more information. Our team will be happy to talk with you and make referrals to programs in your local area or provide you with that information that you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time so much and look forward to serving you at the Illinois Department on Aging.
I want to again thank you all for attending today's Area 5 virtual conference. I hope that you found the information presented valuable. I encourage you now to connect, socialize, and ask questions in the breakout rooms. The breakout rooms are now available, and this is a perfect time to reconnect and share your conference experience with your colleagues. To enter a breakout room, click Breakout Rooms in your meeting controls. This will display the list of open breakout rooms. You can click Expand All to expand all available rooms and see which participants are in that room. Please note that the Expand All and Collapse All options require version 5.9.6 or higher. 3, hover your pointer or mouse over the number to the right of the breakout room you wish to join. Click Join, then confirm by clicking Join again. Repeat these steps as necessary to join other breakout rooms or click Leave Room to exit. Again, thank you for attending the Area 5 virtual conference. Have a good afternoon and have a good remainder of your summer. Thank you again.